This is episode number 30 of the Hybrid Athlete Podcast. And I am here in Northern Colorado. It's a rainy weekend, but I'm just jumping in, stopping in, and catching up with anyone who follows this channel, and giving you an update on my kind of my year so far, 2025. Kind of trying to continue kind of a lean bulk. It's been going on for roughly like 10 months up to this point. Basically since my marathon in 2024. Body weight's right at around 204, 203, 204. So that's good. Kind of feeling pretty good. I did have a local fitness competition these last couple of weeks. So I'm a little bit kind of, I guess the word would be discouraged. I haven't done as well as I was hoped just because, I don't really have like the proper technique nailed down for like strength competitions. I feel like I'm pretty strong, from my size, from my height, from my body build, kind of from my mass and everything, and the muscle that I carry and the type of training that my training style. But unfortunately, I didn't do as well as I hoped. I got penalized for reps not being correct, but it is what it is. I guess that's part of my, my maturity as kind of a fitness guy, kind of an all around, bodybuilder or strength guy now, that I've kind of, deviated from trying to do everything, David Goggins style with, running marathons, doing the Ironmans and stuff. And now just going straight into, get your diet down, get strong, stay, kind of some stable, move that heavy weight and control it. That's kind of where I'm at with things. This podcast, this episode is basically just kind of me going over kind of the midterm goals that I've set, and maybe giving some of you maybe some advice or just some feedback from personal experience and some guidance on what would work best for you, kind of as a person who would set these short to midterm goals. For some people it's putting weight on, maybe put on 10, 15 pounds. For a lot of women, it's like, maybe lose 10 pounds or, just maybe start lifting or just look better, whatever that is. So probably more cosmetic for a lot of women. But my assumption is that if you're a man and you watch this podcast, or you watch my shorts kind of with my updates, you're probably interested in just kind of like the mental, kind of the mental stability and discipline of just being in, holding a fitness lifestyle and dedicating yourself to the day by day kind of grind and process. So obviously everyone's at a different level. I wouldn't say that I'm an elite, an elite lifter. I'm not, a professional. I do basically, however, execute on a daily basis pretty well. I believe I feel confident in my ability and my, kind of my focus on pushing through thresholds and kind of trying to break plateaus and, kind of continue moving in a continual upward trend. That's gone better for me in the past, and it's gone better, worse for me or better for me in the past. So again, like, this is basically my kind of my take on midterm goals, how to set them, how to manage them, specific goals you want to micromanage. I think I recorded that in the video that was lost, unfortunately, but I might get into that a little bit too. But ultimately, I think there's certain goals that you set that there's really no option to fail. If you set a goal of, unless there's a tornado or a hurricane, you say, I'm going to work out every week for 6 days a week. That really needs to be without fail. That has to be no excuses. We got some weird lighting here. This works. But yeah, that's like an example of kind of the mundane goals of, I'm going to have attendance rate like this. I'm going to eat this much, eat this frequently. Failing to eat the right food and the right amount of food, in my opinion, is really unacceptable. Unless it's an unrealistic goal, like unless you're saying, I really want to get shredded. If you're trying to do your first bodybuilding show and you're saying, well, I'm going to, eat 1,000 calories a day for 5 weeks or something, that's pretty ridiculous. You might fail at that. But I'd say just in terms of, I'm going to make the decision to not eat fast food for the next 3 months. I'm going to make the decision to consume, a gallon of water a day. If you do 75 hard, that's a great program that Andy Frisella does with First Form. So those types of things, if you're really, into it, if you really value your health, your fitness, your physique, if you're a bodybuilder, or if you're a lot of females, or your strength, if you're a guy that's like into powerlifting, or if you're, your running sequence, the miles that you put in every week, if you're an endurance guy. Bottom line is those types of things are unacceptable to fail at. But the other kind of goal that I'm trying to get into and I want to talk about are the ones that are more of like a particular benchmark that you're trying to move past. Like, say, for example, my personal one was I want to be able to squat 315 pounds for a set of 10 reps. That would be sweet. And I've come close, but I failed so far. And my goal is like, and especially like with me, like trying to really get leg strength for, since I've finished endurance, I've had like a nice, curve, basically a strength curve on that. But lately it's kind of slowed down because when you're doing a bunch of running and, running 30, 40, 50 miles sometimes a week, you really can't build your legs. But now that I'm able to build my legs, through starting past summer and then into like this spring, it's been, 8 months, 9 months of really focusing on heavier deadlifts, heavy squats, go deep on the squat, whatever front squats. I'm starting to work those in now. Those were on my recent fitness competition. I did decent at those, but these types of midterm goals, like add that amount of weight to a particular movement, a compound movement or whatever it is. Those are the types of goals I'm talking about. And when I said midterm, I think the goal should be realistic, but a very high amount of effort is required to meet that goal. And if you fail at these goals, you should fail in a particular way. And that way should be, God damn, I gave it everything. Maybe it was a little bit too unrealistic. It shouldn't be, oh, if I would just have, there was a stretch for a month where I made an excuse, my son had a thing at school, or, my wife was, had needed me for extra, or had a project come up, or had to fix something at my home, whatever that is. If you fail for those reasons, then I don't think you're disciplined enough. But if you fail for the reason of, I just flat out couldn't get that weight, or I've missed it by 1 or 2 reps, or it was just kind of like effort was there, execution was there, the mundane details, like I'm saying, are there, but there's failure there. I think that's okay. And I think that you should respond to that in the proper way. It has to be taken, basically in terms of, you have to know how to prepare to when you kind of have to know how that preparation is going to be. My suggestion is, the technical piece, or kind of like the numbers of it, or you break it down by, I'm going to do maybe fewer reps and I'm going to focus on form with fewer reps, but I'm going to increase the weight. So my example of this is, I'm squatting 275 pounds, and I got better over time at like doing like a high volume pyramid, basically 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. And I was going pretty deep on the squat, at least parallel, kind of hopefully past parallel. So what I did was I said, let me step back and say, okay, let me throw a curveball in there. And I know I'm getting, marginally better at the same weight for more reps, good form, all that. But my process was, how do I change this up so that I give myself the best chance to achieve a goal of squat 315 for 10 reps? So, I went, first one was like, okay, make sure you keep the form the same, get warmed up, going for one, and then kind of like reset or recalibrate your sequence of getting that goal of 315 for 10 reps, as you go. So bottom line in summary was, first time I did it, I was legitimate reps, 5 reps, let's be real, 5 reps at the most. I would say 4, and then one that was kind of shitty. But so that's kind of like the starting point. And then I kind of recalibrate. I said, okay, the path that I took to get from being able to only do, a sequence of 12, 11, 10, 9, 8 pyramid for 275. Now I'm able to do 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. So and then I added another set at the end, which was great for 275. Was, a pretty intense squat workout, but it's helping me grow. But I kind of translate that with new weight. I kind of go into, I'm not just satisfied with, oh, now I'm doing more weight in squats, 315. I'm trying to build up. I'm saying systematically, how do I go? Like, how do I keep the intensity? How do I like prepare myself to take what I know about that first set when I was kind of the same energy level, same rest time. I'm rested. I'm going into that sequence of really only 5 good reps of 315. I need to double that in X amount of time. So I kind of do the math on how many times a week do you do legs? Well, most weeks I do legs twice a week. One day is really heavy squats. The other day is machine work. So I started thinking, okay, what if I really focus more on the heavy day where I'm going all in? I'm doing heavy 315, and then I start putting in drop sets of 275 all the way down to 225. Sometimes I even do like a, superset of like 30, 40 reps of 135 to really like, kind of just tear everything down at the very end, which I like. I feel like I'm growing and I'm getting response from that. So my thought was, okay, maybe adjust day 2 and prioritize day 1 as like the day to really go after every week, get better at 315, and then build yourself up. So you see what I mean, where it's kind of like you have to almost pick your battles in terms of a lot of people that are really passionate about fitness and their journey and the gym really sometimes bite off more than they can chew. That happens in running. You can have a successful run or maybe a successful race or something and say, oh, well, if I just keep going how I'm going, and then I'm going to cut my time even more and more and more. But the law of diminishing returns is real, and it's hard. And the kind of what I'm talking about in terms of trying to get past that in this talk here is basically saying, okay, you need to know where to adjust, where to make an adjustment. And in this example of squatting, for me, I made the adjustment on the second day. So I basically made it an adjustment of volume and weight on the first day. But then the second day, I maybe did a few less. I kind of double up on quads. So I started thinking, well, squat is a more quad dominant movement. Why don't I double up on hamstrings? Why don't I still do hamstring machine work on Wednesday like I usually do for leg day, and then I do Wednesday, Saturday typically. So on Saturday, I did say I'm going to remove the quad machine, the quad leg extensions, and I'm going to go a little bit heavier on hamstrings, and then keep calves the same. Maybe add a set of calves, just so I'm overall my volume is increasing by 10%. So it's almost like increase squats by 20 to 30%, decrease everything else by 15%. So you're going up 10%, which is realistic. You're not biting off more than you can chew, but you're still like kind of going after that particular goal that you want, but kind of keeping everything else moderately stable, if that makes sense. And I think that type of approach, that mentality is basically applicable to vast varieties of fitness, vast variety of goals. Again, we'll go back to females. If you're a female and maybe you want to have like a more impressive lower body, women always love that. So then you could basically go to a different type of machine work and challenge yourself to, maybe I'm going to replace this exercise and maybe I'm going to increase the volume or increase the weight, and then challenge myself to like do more walking, like incline walking or the stair step or whatever it is. You can like add those in so that you're not, I would summarize this as like add 30, remove 15. So you add, you know what I mean? Like you're basically adding 30% of what the thing that you're really focused on, but you're removing maybe 10 to 15% of, what makes the goal realistic. And I think if you take that approach, people are going to have a lot more success. I'm not saying this is like the solution or this is the best way, but in terms of diet, fitness, overall execution, the spectrum, basically the entire picture of what your fitness is like. There's plenty of influencers on YouTube and people online that are kind of, giving a similar message, but I don't think it's always as detailed, or it's not always as specific as it should be. People like Sam Sulek always break down their bro split, which is, I think he does a bro split. I haven't watched him in a few months, but basically just kind of saying, okay, I'm doing this body part this day, and then I'm doing back twice because I'm prioritizing my back, or my back is very well caught up. I need to bring up shoulders and chest, so I'm doing that twice. That's all good, but I'm talking more about like within that paradigm of adjusting volume and adjusting days and stuff, you need to adjust prioritization. So I think it's one of like the key elements of underlying exercise, to get technical. Basically prioritization within that variation of schemes of reps, volume, etc. Prioritization of a particular exercise that maybe wasn't front and center before, order of exercises within each workout, that can be important too. One thing I've always done is basically deadlift before I squat, because I don't max out on deadlift. My deadlift is already stronger than my squat, but in order to kind of prime myself for a squat, so when I'm already warm, I can really just dig in, not worry about injury. My joints feel good. That's how I do it. I kind of set up the squat, the bulk of the meat of the workout with a lighter deadlift. I'm basically just kind of bang out 315 or 345 for kind of, 5, 6, 7, 8 reps, just kind of really get in the groove, and then go to the squat rack and say, all right, now that I'm nice and warm, I have no excuses. I'm going to go balls out on this. And if I fail, I fail. That's fine. I got safety bars. Everything's good. So I think that's kind of like my recap of, I'm not frustrated, but sometimes I just get agitated, when I hear people that I know, or I just kind of like observe kind of the behavior of people saying they want to do something or saying they have these goals, but it happens in business, it happens in personal life, whatever it is. I don't want to become victim to that. I don't want to I want to practice what I preach. I want to avoid that. So part of this is kind of like my verbal commitment, or like my verbal processing of, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that approach to life, to like being stagnant, to being complacent with your goals. Obviously, it's cliche. It's in every, motivational book that's out there. But essentially what I'm saying is fitness is really, it's important, and it's very crucial that you don't waste time by not executing midterm goals. I would define a midterm goal. I'll finish with this. I'll define a midterm goal as a goal that lasts between 1 to 6 months. Longer term goals, I think, are more than 6 months, probably 1 to 4, 1 to 5 years. I'd say long term goals, and then like lifetime goals would be decades long or whatever. Have a good marriage, whatever. That's like a lifetime goal. But bottom line is, these midterm goals, they can be set up in different ways. And then my input to all of you, especially who are into fitness and who are like really talking about strength. Let's talk about strength, because that's kind of the realm that I'm in right now. My advice, and from my experience, is in these midterm goals, 1 to 6 months, like pre-plan them, like make sure that you kind of have them planned out for the entire duration of that. I'm for example, I've planned out over the next 4 or 5 months what body weight I want to have. I want to be at least 210, hopefully 215 throughout the next, probably start my cut around August or something, because the first time I'll ever cut, legitimately cut. But basically get that body weight. I have, a series of strength metrics and that, basically benchmarks that I want to have. And then one of them really is form on my chest, on my bench press, because I kind of had a revelation, especially after this recent fitness competition, that I'm not benching correctly. My butt's going off the seat, so I'm getting like no reps, which is annoying. And I know I'm pretty strong. Like my chest is growing, like physically my chest is bigger. That's good. But I want to have like that core, like that base strength that's like, he can throw like heavy weight around. He looks strong and he is strong, not opposed to, I get good pumps and stuff, but like that's part of my goal is like, okay, how do I dial in on bench press and really like squeeze, feel the weight and move that weight so that I can really like, like dig into bench and be like, okay, I got a stronger chest, and I'm like moving some legitimate weight correctly, and I can kind of manhandle the weight, which would be nice. So that's kind of my goal, is like the body weight, and then obviously squats. So squats, chest, and body weight to go up. So everything else is kind of in place for me. Like I have pretty decent shoulders and stuff, and I'm happy with my execution on diet and stuff, and caloric consumption. I've put on weight, I think, the correct way. Meaning I have body fat, but not too much to where I like feel gross, or I feel like I need to lose weight. It's just kind of like steadily, slowly but surely going up. And at this point in time, like I'm not on drugs. I'm not on any hard drugs or steroids or anything. So, I wouldn't expect myself to be able to I've put on pretty much 25 pounds. Will be a year out, because it'll be May from when I weighed about exactly 180. So 25 pounds a good weight in one full calendar year. That's pretty good, especially when you're talking about, a guy I started out as advanced. I was already advanced in 2024 in terms of lifting, fitness, lifestyle and stuff. It wasn't like I was starting out as like a skinny fat guy at 180. I was, definitely lean. You guys can see some of my old videos and shorts. And, around 2024, I was, trying to do a marathon in under 3 hours. Trying to basically lift weights still 3, 4, sometimes 5 days a week, and still run a lot. It was hard on the joints, but that was like kind of my history leading up to now, is like, okay, these midterm goals, I'm realizing, are becoming more and more prominent and more important. And you're not going to feel comfortable a lot of times. When I first started doing these front squats this last month, like it was very uncomfortable. And I was like, I really had to learn to tighten my core. I'm going to strain my back and that type of stuff. So, again, just wrapping this up, my ultimate message is, any of you who don't use midterm goals, really prioritize those, and then micromanage that specific piece of your fitness. So, if you have diet and you have sleep and you have routine and cruise control, great. Discipline isn't an issue for you. You don't need to set an alarm or like really have the internal mental talk, like, don't be a pussy, go to the gym today, even though you don't want to. Because if you really love like what you're doing, it should almost be like you can't wait to go till next time. Joe Rogan just had a podcast, I think, or there was a clip of him basically talking about that. And other pro athletes and high level guys are just like the same way. Like, it's not discipline. It's almost like obsession. It's like a healthy obsession with something that's good for you. That's what fitness is at the end of the day. And really that should be like hopefully a mindset that you get into. But once you're in that realm, in that zone of like, okay, now that I'm going and I really want to go again, just make the best use of your time. I mean, fitness isn't like golf. It's not like business. It's like, it's only going to last a certain amount of time. I mean, the sad story, it's sad to see what Ronnie Coleman looks like now, but 20 years ago, he was the most impressive human being who ever walked this planet, pretty much in terms of fitness and strength and muscle mass. So, while you're doing it, go all in on it. Don't have any kind of regrets or any excuses when you kind of, look back or think, well, maybe I should have set a goal this way. Or that's what I'm saying is midterm goals are really kind of like fill that void of like consciously be in the moment, be present, be chasing like achievable, but very, very high effort required. And then if you fail, don't get discouraged, but just kind of keep pushing through. For me, I would classify my most recent performance in this fitness competition as a failure. But when I look back on my effort, on kind of my attentiveness to schedule, routine, everything, it was in place. It's just a matter of change your form, better mechanics on this piece of it, and everything will kind of be fine and fall into place. So thank you for watching this one. Sorry it was late. It was like over a month late from the last one, episode 29. But episode 30, here March, pretty much April 1st, and we'll probably publish it. April 1st, 2025, April Fool's Day. We still got 8 months left in 2025. So get out there and crush it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.